WrestleMania 41 lived up to its immense billing as the grandest stage of them all, delivering surprises, betrayals, and defining moments that will reshape WWE for the foreseeable future. The energy inside Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas never relented, and fans around the world bore witness to one of the most consequential WrestleManias in history, streaming for the first time on Netflix in several major international markets. The production came with a few hiccups, including an unexpected on-air blunder during a major celebration, but none of it overshadowed the in-ring drama and the shifts in the company's landscape that unfolded across the two nights. The most shocking moment of Night 1 occurred in the triple threat main event, involving Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. The crowd anticipated a war, and what they got was not only a high-caliber match among three of WWE's most storied veterans, but also one of the most unexpected betrayals in recent memory. Paul Heyman, who had realigned with CM Punk in the months leading up to WrestleMania, turned on him in the match's decisive stretch. With all three men battered and exhausted, Heyman's interference allowed Rollins to capitalize and score the win, dealing a brutal emotional blow to Punk and blindsiding an audience that had long associated Heyman with loyalty, only to Punk or Reigns. The betrayal didn't just impact the match's result. It rewrote the alliances that had governed the main event scene. Rollins, walking away with the win while Heyman stood at his side, sent a clear message that chaos was returning to the top of the card. Elsewhere on the same night, Jey Uso cemented his rise with a stunning victory over Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. The match was grueling and physical, a direct clash of styles that showcased Jey's resilience and Gunther's methodical brutality. Gunther, who had built an aura of invincibility with his disciplined dominance and lengthy title reign, found himself on the losing end for the first time in a major singles setting. The ending, with Jey using Gunther's own sleeper hold against him, wasn't just poetic, it was symbolic. A man long defined by his family lineage and role as a supporting player had stepped out and used the tactics of a ring general to finally reach the pinnacle on his own terms. It wasn't without drama though. A brief production mistake during Jey's post-match celebration saw a Survivor Series graphic flash on screen, briefly confusing viewers and causing a stir on social media. Still, the error didn't dampen the emotional moment, as Jey celebrated a career-defining victory. The Women's Championship saw Tiffany Stratton retain in a much-anticipated clash against Charlotte Flair. Stratton, who had been steadily building momentum and credibility in the months leading to WrestleMania, faced her biggest challenge yet in the multi-time champion Flair. The match was evenly contested, with Stratton proving she could hang in a pressure cooker moment with a veteran like Charlotte. In the end, it wasn't luck or interference that secured her win. It was a clean victory that solidified her status as a true top-tier competitor. Flair's legacy is already well established, but Stratton's victory announced a new era in the women's division, one where the spotlight isn't just inherited, it's earned. Another new chapter was written in the United States Championship picture, as Jacob Fatu defeated LA Knight to claim the title. For Fatu, this was a monumental arrival. The match itself was a showcase of two drastically different approaches: Knight's charisma and crowd manipulation against Fatu's raw intensity and athleticism. Fatu's victory wasn't just the crowning of a new champion, it marked his official breakout moment on a grand stage. Knight, despite the loss, remained over with the crowd, showing once again that wins and losses don't always tell the full story in professional wrestling. But Fatu's star-making performance ensured that the midcard would no longer be viewed as filler. It was now a breeding ground for future main eventers. Jade Cargill made a powerful statement in her singles WrestleMania debut against Naomi. The match had more than just in-ring implications. It was the culmination of a storyline months in the making, where Naomi turned heel and accused Cargill of stealing the spotlight. Cargill had disappeared from television for weeks, only to reemerge with a dominant edge. The match played into their tension, and Cargill's strength advantage became the decisive factor. Naomi attempted to use her veteran wiles to outmaneuver Cargill, but ultimately the physicality and presence of the newcomer proved too much. Cargill's victory not only wrapped up their storyline in emphatic fashion, but also further positioned her as one of WWE's most bankable future stars. The masked persona of El Grande Americano turned out to be a major plot twist during Night 1, as the mysterious luchador defeated Rey Fenix in a match filled with controversy. Originally scheduled to face Rey Mysterio, Americano instead fought Fenix due to Mysterio's injury. Midway through the match, it became clear that Americano wasn't who he claimed to be. He used a loaded mask, clearly tampered with to deliver an illegal headbutt, and picked up a cheap victory over Fenix. After the match, the mask came off, revealing none other than Chad Gable, who had adopted the character to disrespect lucha tradition and take shortcuts to WrestleMania glory. This storyline blended humor, heat, and cultural tension, instantly making Gable one of the most hated figures on the roster and setting up a likely rematch down the line with real stakes and personal vendettas. WrestleMania 41 concluded with a sense that WWE was no longer playing it safe. Betrayals, breakout performances, and shifting alliances created an environment where nothing felt predictable. And that sense of danger is what will keep fans invested moving forward. Whether it's Paul Heyman once again reshaping the power structure, new champions rewriting the hierarchy, or long-term stories paying off in unexpected ways, this year's event set a new tone for what the future holds. Every match, from the blood feuds to the feel-good moments, left its mark. It wasn't just another WrestleMania. It was a turning point. This betrayal also leaves Roman Reigns in an unfamiliar limbo. For years, he had been the unquestioned centerpiece of Heyman's council. But now, with no title, no backup, and no Heyman, Roman is drifting in dangerous waters. He wasn't pinned in the match, and that detail wasn't lost on anyone. Least of all, Reigns himself. His aura of invincibility has cracked, and for the first time since his rise as the tribal chief, his place at the top feels vulnerable. The crowd didn't jeer him with the same venom as before. They watched him retreat in silence, not in defeat, but in confusion. The empire he built through dominance, fear, and manipulation had started to collapse, and unlike past obstacles, this wasn't an external challenger. It was erosion from within. CM Punk's role in all of this is equally complex. This was supposed to be his redemption, his defining return to the biggest stage, his homecoming turned coronation, and instead, he was made a fool of by the one man he trusted the most. The pain etched across his face after the bell rang wasn't just physical, it was existential. The voice of the voiceless had spent a decade fighting for a platform only to be silenced again by the system's most cunning mouthpiece. Punk's future now feels fueled not by nostalgia or a triumphant second act, but by vengeance. His story has veered off the heroic path and into a morally gray descent, and the fallout from Heyman's betrayal may push him to places even his most fervent fans have never seen. Seth Rollins' victory, though earned with an asterisk, brings its own consequences. He's never been the kind of champion to shy away from chaos, but now that he stands at the summit with Heyman by his side, the question becomes whether he can lead without descending into self-destruction. Rollins thrives in disorder, but aligning with Heyman suggests a new direction, one calculated, cruel, and laced with deception. This new iteration of Rollins isn't the flamboyant architect or the messianic cult leader. It's something colder, more deliberate. His path forward likely includes fending off both Punk's wrath and Reigns' pride, a task as dangerous as it is historic. Paul Heyman's betrayal was never an accident. It wasn't an impulsive decision made in the heat of battle or a result of miscalculated emotion. It was methodical, long in the making, and rooted in a deep understanding of history, his own, the company's, and the legacy of everyone involved. For Heyman, survival has never been about loyalty. It's been about relevance. And as WrestleMania 41 loomed, he understood more clearly than anyone that his time as the voice behind Roman Reigns' dominance was nearing its expiration date. The empire they built together was cracking. The tribal chief's aura, once sacred and untouchable, had lost its fear factor. What was once dominance had become obligation, and Heyman doesn't stay where momentum dies. He runs toward where it is reborn. In Seth Rollins, Heyman saw more than just talent. He saw ideology. A man who's been chasing validation for years, Rollins is driven not by power, but by necessity. He has reinvented himself a dozen times, but never fully stepped into the space Roman occupied. That changed at WrestleMania 41, and it was Heyman who made that change happen. Aligning with Rollins wasn't just about picking the likely winner. It was about staking his legacy to the future. CM Punk represents rebellion, but that rebellion always comes with volatility. Heyman's history with Punk is complicated, bonded by trust, broken by abandonment. Punk left when things got hard. He walked away from a business Heyman has bled for. That abandonment left scars, and no matter how often they hugged on TV or teased reunions, those scars never fully healed. The triple threat match was the perfect setting for such a seismic betrayal. It was designed for conflict, for emotional damage, for maximum fallout. Three of Heyman's greatest creations, all in one ring, all vying for supremacy. It was theater at its most violent and manipulative. And when the final turn came, the crowd didn't erupt in shock. They froze. It was too surreal. Punk lay broken. Roman stood stunned, and the card felt younger, hungrier, and filled with unspoken tension.